Hey guys, it's Mr. Mini Painter, and today we're going to be painting this funny little guy, who is Ori of Thorin's Company from the Hobbit movies. One of the dwarves accompanying Bilbo Baggins on the quest to defeat Smaug and reclaim Erebor. So as you can see here, I base coated this model with a black primer, and I put some modeling sand on the base to prep this guy. And we're going to be painting him with the next few colors. First is Bugman's Glow as a base coat for the skin. We are going to be highlighting that with some Cadian Flesh Tone. And after this you can wash it with some Reichland Flesh Shade if you want, to create some extra shades. At this point I decided to do the eyes first with Palette Witch Flesh. Make sure to use a fine tip brush, make sure that your paint is moist enough, and make some horizontal movements to paint in those eyes. If you make any mistakes, it's not a big deal, you can go over it with the previous base colors again. The pupil with some Abaddon Black, try and get some nice dot in there, which is the hardest part. You're done! So now it's just the rest of the model with some Kislev Flesh as a final highlight for the skin. Focus on the cheekbones, the top of the fingers, the nose, the chin, the forehead, and you can gradually build it up. We're going to continue with this hair, and for that I used Steel Legion Drab. Next I'm shading his hair with Snakebite Leather, which is a contrast paint. You can choose to do Agrax Earthshade if you don't have this kind of contrast paints, but I like this, the color and the effect on this base layer. Next I'm highlighting it with some Baylor Brown and Steel Legion Drab mixed together, and you can build that up as you go. Make sure to get some nice details in the beard. Paint some individual hairs if you're able to. You get a great effect. For this models I used a plastic kit which doesn't have too many details, but as you can see here you can create some details of your own if you want. So yeah, make it a little bit more interesting. Next is Sons of Horus Green mixed with some Abaddon Black for the pants. I tend to start fairly dark with my base colors and gradually build it up with brighter colors. As you can see here, I'm using Sons of Horus Green in its pure form for the first highlight. Focus on the raised areas, the parts that would catch the most light. Leave the darker parts as they are. And as an extreme highlight, I mixed some Palette Witch Flesh into the Sons of Horus Green to take it a little step further. Next, the boots, Dried Bark as a base color. We're going to be highlighting that with some Baneblade Brown. And if you want, you can give it a little wash in between with some Agrax Earthshade or something like that. Next is the coat with Baragnar Burgundy, and again darken it down with some Abaddon Black. The reason I do this is that you can use the pure color Baragnar Burgundy in a further stage to use it as its own highlight. So here we go. Some pure Baragnar Burgundy. You get some nice effects already. I covered most of the coat with this color again, but leave some of the darker parts as they are. Focus on the top, shoulders, the parts that are sticking out on the front and back. I'll leave those shades in there. Next I use Dried Bark and some Abaddon Black to paint the belt strap. and also the parts on his wrist. I'm highlighting it with some Baneblade Brown, but if you want you can take a step in between by using some pure dried bark first. I'm now going for the pouch and color it with some Castellan green mixed with some Rhinox hide. Also the strap around his shoulder. We'll leave that to dry for a little while. The metal parts I'm going to be painting with some Leadbelcher, which is the clasp on his belt, and there are some little metal pins on the pouch, as you can see here. Then the scabbard with some Fondia Brown. The top and the bottom of the scabbard are also painted with Leadbelcher in the previous stage. Next, back to the pouch with some Athonian Camo Shade. It has those nice green tones, but it's a bit dark, so we get some nice shade effects. Then I mixed some Barracknor Burgundy with Palette Witch Flesh to give a little more highlight to the coats. Just focus on the top folds, apply some details here and there, and keep the base color quite dark. They're not really a bright bunch, these dwarves. Then some dried bark for the sling he's holding. And the little patch on the front of the sling I painted with some Rhinox hide, just to give it a little extra color. I highlighted everything with some Bugman's Glow, which gives a nice leathery look in highlights. Just go for a small edge highlight here and there. Then I decided to give a highlight with Dead World Forest and Ushabti Bone to the pouch and its strap. Just makes it look a little bit more interesting, and you can add some details on the pouch if you want. And then we're nearly finished. I decided to give his coat a pattern just to make him a little bit more interesting, and for that I used some Ushabti Bone. Use a fine detail brush or a brush with a decent tip, and I created some diagonal lines and crossed them out all over his coat. Feel free, of course, to create any pattern you want, but this is a nice and quite simple way of making your mini a little bit more interesting than just those base colors. And that's it for Ori. If you're interested in more of these videos, I am painting the entire Thorin's Company, and you can watch it on my channel. I made a playlist out of it. There are new ones coming every week. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And now for the final results. Here we have him, Ori the Dwarf. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching again, and I hope to see you in one of my next videos. Please subscribe if you're interested in these kind of videos, as I'm uploading every week. And I hope to see you in one of my next ones. Bye bye!